Hi, welcome back. Today we are going to be working on part 2 of our modular buildings, building the first story. Step 1 is to cut out your chipboard to be the right size. So I just traced it with 2 of my tiles, so it comes out to be a little less than 3 inches by 6 inches for the top and 2 inches by 6 inches for the side. Step 2 is cutting out a piece of 2-inch by 3-inch dollar store foam and carving out a brick or a stone tile pattern. And then you're going to take a X-Acto knife and cut out a 1-inch square for the window. You're going to want to cover this whole thing in like PVA glue or Mod Podge or something in order to harden it up. Then take your chipboard and run a line of hot glue down one side. Take your foam, go ahead and glue it in. The hot glue will melt the foam a little bit, which is actually pretty cool. It makes a cool noise. Now, this next part is some advanced technique. You're going to count out 12 popsicle sticks. We're going to be using these to make a porch for the first floor of our building. So we're going to cut them to about 4 inches, so just snip off the sides. We want it, once we glue it on, to overhang by about 1 inch, so that minis can stand on it. So hot glue each one in. We also want to leave a little bit of space in between each slat of wood. That way, as we're playing, we can look through the slats and see any minis or terrain hiding underneath. Which is nice when you're at a table playing together. When we're building these 3D buildings, it's important to remember playability comes first, even before how it looks. But the slats actually do end up looking pretty cool. It gives it a rickety feel that fits our old worn out building so far. Next, cut out more popsicle sticks. These will be about 4 inches as well, but I'm only cutting one side of them. The side I'm going to put at the bottom of the building. The top I'm going to leave round. These popsicle sticks will support the top floor of the building, which just rests on top of them, like I showed off a little bit in the last video. It takes a little bit of experimentation to get it right, so I would actually recommend taping the sticks on first until you get the right location that you need, and then marking them off with a pen or something, and then gluing them on, because it took me a couple of tries of gluing them on and then taking them off and re-gluing them in order to get it right. But just check out my complete look of consternation here. I think that really shows the process of being a crafter. So we're gonna cut out slats next. They'll each be 2 inches tall. I just eyeballed the width of each one. This is basically the same as the last video. Just gonna glue them on. Next we're going to add the stucco effect by gluing on sand. So this time we're just gonna apply it straight to the chipboard instead of using foam. And this is totally how you can make the first building too, is just use the chipboard. I just use the foam because I had it, but either way works. So make sure you don't get any glue on the wooden supports, but pour on your sand. You don't need too much because we're going to paint over it, so any holes will actually end up looking okay. Clear off the excess, tap it off, and here you go. We got one side stuccoed. Since the bricks don't need it, we just need to glue the other side. So it's pretty easy. I was in the store the other day and they were selling sand for $10 for a tiny little bag. The thing about dirt is that you can just pick it up off of the ground. PSA, don't waste your money on buying sand. We're going to make a door here, so cut it out to be 1 inch by 1.5 inches, and then score your chipboard with an X-Acto knife, and then take a pen and go over the grooves to make each individual plank of wood. And as an extra detail, I like to take my pen and poke little holes for the nails in each slat. We're going to cut out the banding next. So cut out a thin strip of chipboard and cut it to the length of your door, so 1 inch long. Glue that on and do it again a second time, so we have 2 strips of banding. And this is a nice quick way to make a pretty good looking door. We're gonna make windows next. I've seen people use like the cross-stitching plastic mesh, but I don't have any, so we are going to be using a different method. Just cut out a piece of like plastic from a packaging or something. Make sure it is a little bit bigger than your window, and then go ahead and take some duct tape and tape it in. Duct tape works well because it's hard to glue plastic with tacky glue, and if we tried to hot glue it, it would eat into the back of the foam. So tape there is your friend. Next, we're going to make a little bit of like iron letting for the windows, so they don't just look like clear glass. So straighten out a paper clip and cut it in half and stick one side into the corner and kind of finagle it into the other corner as well. And then do the same for the other diagonal to make an X. And it's pretty simple, but it gives a lot of flavor for how easy it is. Finally, we're gonna paint. But since I already covered that in the last video, we're just gonna jump ahead to the finished project. Welcome to our portside city. You can see the paint job looks really nice with the rest of the building. Like I said, it's just the same thing, except for I painted the bricks the same red copper color as the roof shingles on top. Here you can see that the slats work well for being able to see through and see minis underneath. And of course the whole thing is modular, and it fits with our tiles, so if the players need to go inside a building or something, or you want to switch the buildings around, it all works. So it works well for building a city, but it also does a great job of modeling a little village like this. The top stories of the buildings work as little cottages by themselves, and the bottom stories have these cool look. They remind me of like watchtowers or some sort of outpost. So I'm calling this village Stonebridge, and there's this outpost guarded by the local military. This setup also works with making a building in 2.5D, and if you want to imply height, you can also just use leftover tiles as the walls so players know how tall it is. You could also make a 3-story tall building, or you could use the first stories as like mining sheds in like a cavern. The possibilities are really endless. So thanks for watching. I hope this gives you some good ideas for building your own stuff.